Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether y'all are watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. I want to take a quick second and say thank you to the channel members. Thank you all so much. And I want to say thank you to anyone who's made the time to come in here and watch my knife and EDC content. I really hope you enjoy it. If you do, you could do me a huge favor by hitting that subscribe button and that bell notification icon. It would greatly help me out. Today I was going to talk about what I consider to be kind of medium sized, small to most people, but EDC fixed blades. So this is going to be the biggest of the bunch, and these are going to be the top 10 that I prefer or that I fancy in my collection. And they range and run the gamut, but they're all going to be what I consider a medium sized knife. So to give you an idea, about bug out size, right? But again, nothing near a bug out. So I'm going to start off with the 2023 Shed Knife Scur, which is just a little overbuilt tank of a knife. It is a pry bar, it is a breeching knife, it is a wood chopper, it is a feather sticker, it is a cutter. You could use it to meal prep. You could use it to drive tent stakes. You could use it for really a lot of different hiking tasks. I've carried this knife a lot of different ways. Whoops. If I don't hit that, that's cutter error, guys. I apologize. It really does cut. I'm just not doing it justice. But anyway, it does have a Skinner type blade. Of course, it's going to be super thick behind the edge, more of a chopper, more of a hard use knife. This is 154 cm. It comes in at, wow, the blade stock's almost a 1/4 inch. 0.2195, 0.22. So a chunky little small knife that I used to carry on an ulti clip, but I think I found the best way for me to carry it is scout carry, and I actually carry this one on the back of my belt. It does have some weight to it. It's a heavier knife, as you might imagine, because it's full tang, 154 cm, almost a 1/4 inch thick. You've got these G10 scales that are removable. You can swap them out. It actually came with Dayglow G10 scales. I might put back on there one day soon just to kind of mix it up. But super nice, made in the USA knife. Not the most ergonomical. Not going to be the lightest, smallest medium EDC knife. But it's one that I really like. I really like to go out and I like to dig with it. I like to draw stuff with it. I have these bamboo shoots that come up every year. About April 1st, out beside my bamboo that borders me and the neighbor's house. And I've got some out there that had come up after I pulled out the shoots, and I'll use this knife today to hack it down. Go out there and just get down at the base, hack it, and then poke the blade in the tip and pop it out. So this little knife is an absolute bruiser. It's going to come in at number 10 because it doesn't get carried as much, but it does get used a lot. And that's just because it's a big knife for my EDC. But when I go hiking or camping, this guy always comes. So moving on, we will go to number 9, which is another overbuilt knife, which is why I like it. But it does fit in that medium-sized bug-out length range. And this is the Midgard Messer Ratötk. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, the Ratötk does not have a fantastically comfortable handle. This is a G10 handle. It's got this checkered pattern, and it's very bulbous, as you can tell. This is a 1/4 inch blade stock, I think. Let's see. This is also a thick knife. That's why I have these as 10 and 9. So this guy comes in at 0.2575, so it's over a 1/4 inch thick. However, the Midgard Messer's Ratötk is a smaller knife. So there are a lot of different grips on these knives. None of them are super, super comfortable. What I love about this knife is it is such a unique knife. It's a great chopper. It's a tanto, which means it's going to be kind of an intimidating knife. It's the kind of knife that if you were trying to save your Slurpee and you didn't want to get into close defense of your Slurpee, you could literally grab this thing and fling it, and even if the butt end hit somebody, it'd probably knock them out. Any case, really cool knife. I love carrying it. It turns a lot of heads. It's S90V. Limited run of 100 units. This is number 41 out of 100. Picked it up at White Mountain Knives. I don't think they have any more of these in stock. I picked up the drop point too, but I prefer the Tanto. Another downside of it's the sheath. You've got this molded rubber sheath that does force you to carry it vertically on your belt, but for me, that's fine. For this knife, I just carry it over my my right hip, kind of behind at about 4 o'clock. But yeah, the Midgard Messers Ratötk is number 9, which brings us to number 8, which is another. This is probably going to be more paramilitary 2 size. Let me see. This is the White River. No, it's still bug out size. Small game. Totally different knife than most of my EDC knives. Again, this might go back on an ulti clip. It was a little tall for the ulti clip, so I put it on the scout straps, and it's a little wide for the scout straps. On my appendix, it sticks out. I have to carry it kind of like at 3 o'clock, and it was an easy one to slip in the pocket, so I might go back to an ulti clip on this. But a fantastic little knife that's made, like its name implies, a small game, right? S35, VN, USA made, extremely slicey and thin, not like the last 2 knives we looked at. So this guy, even though I'm not doing a good job cutting, and I won't tell you the time that this video is being recorded, but it is definitely a therapeutic slicer and works great in the field for opening packages. I haven't cleaned any game with it because I don't do the game thing anymore, but that's just the name of the knife. I picked it up because when I saw it, it was early in my fixed blade collecting, and I actually thought it was going to be a little bit shorter. So this knife, you know, is a pretty medium-sized knife, but it's got a very, very well done, contoured micarta handle that is just ergonomically pleasing as all get out. So as an EDC knife, this could definitely replace my primary EDC, and it would be a great choice for that because it's small, it's thin. You look at it compared to some of our EDC knives that we use quite often, gets the same job done, and it does it in a fixed blade. So the White River small game has really been impressive to me. I like it. I did think it was going to be a little shorter, and if it was up to me, because I'm a smaller knife guy, it wouldn't be in my medium knife category. Because medium knives I love. They've got a great place, but unfortunately, I don't get to get out and use them as hard as I'd like, going camping, going hiking, because I don't do that as much as my EDC that I carry every day and use every day. But a fantastic knife. We're going to call this one number 8. And that is going to bring us to number 7. And number 7 is a really cool knife. So cool that you guys have probably seen it before. I've actually got 2 of them. It is a medium-sized knife. By every stretch of the imagination, it's not going to be just a little bit shorter than the bug out. About a ½ inch. But this is the Viper Knives Vox Designed Lily 1. The Lily 1 is the drop point version of the Lily series. There is another Lily that is the Lily 2. The Lily 2 is a sheep's foot version. I also have it, but I really prefer and can appreciate the balance and the design of the Lily 1. The balance is identical, and the design is really identical on the sheep's foot. I just really love this big belly blade. You've got jimping for 2 types of cuts. So if I put my finger on this back jimping, I've got a slicing grip. If I'm going to do something more detailed and use that belly, employ it more, I've got jimping up here so I can determine where the pressure on my blade's going to be. And Voxnaz has kind of done that for me by building a perfectly balanced full tang L-Max blade that's on the medium size, which would be what Christine at Women Carry Knives would consider a small medium. I consider it a medium. I do carry it in an ulti-clip in my back pocket. Has a fantastic sheath, great retention, fantastic knife. I love all these guys, and this is a huge, huge winner. Coming up to number 6, we've got this little banger. This little guy is and has rapidly become one of my fave medium small knives, because this is also in that medium size, small medium. This is the T.Kell Combatant. So it's going to be about the size of the Lily One. The way, I don't know if you saw that sheath jettison off, but the sheath is set up very perfectly. It's a tactical sheath. The hardware that holds these scales on that are replaceable is done exceptionally well. This is a USA-made knife right over in my neighboring state of Georgia. This particular version's in Nitro V, and it looks stonewashed, but that's really a nickel boron coating, which T.Kell puts on all their knives. And to be honest with you, I don't know why more knife makers don't use that coating, because the pew industry uses it extensively to cut down on friction, to cut down on wear, to cut down on corrosion. So it's just a really, I think, a neat material. And I've been using these knives for nearly a year by T.Kell's, and I've kind of beaten them to death. I mean, I'm not a hard use guy, but I've hard used these. I put several edges on them, touched them up in the field, take them out, stabbed them into stuff. They're tactical knives. They're designed to be tactical knives, and I like to be comfortable carrying a little tactical knife and know how to use it. Therefore, I've gone out and I've spent some time in the woods with these guys. But the sheath retention's next level, locks into place. The grip is ultra comfortable in my hand. I love the CNC milling grind. I love the swedge at the top of the blade. I love you've got here at the top Lester Ganton. This is probably a collab knife, but that's the detail there right on the spine. The T.Kell Combatant, badass little knife, killer Slurpee saver, killer EDC replacement. Any of these medium-sized fixed blades guys in this top 10 list could easily be your primary carry. They would replace, most folders that you're going to be carrying that day. So I would just carry it in my right pocket. But this is the Combatant. Moving to number 9876, number 5. Old Faithful. This is our Guardian 3, which is going to be smaller than our Bug Out, but it's bigger than a small knife for me because of its width. So it's going to be about the size of our Combatant, about the size of our Lily One, but this is a little Rex 45 Bradford Guardian 3. And I mean to tell you, when this knife I traded with Shane for it, it had the checkered scales that I really didn't like. I mean, I disliked them greatly because they just weren't comfortable. So I ordered these contour scales, and it made all the difference in the world. Now, this is a little thicker knife, and you're kind of limited in the way that you can carry it. You've got to carry it on your belt, scout style. But this Rex 45 is probably as therapeutic of a slicer as we're going to find in this video, which means that you guys, unfortunately, will have to kill the video now or watch me continue my trance of slicing paper with a beautifully done blade that just literally separates material. It's impressive, guys. This knife I could highly recommend, just like any of the knives on any of my lists. Guys, every one of the knives on my list, with the exception of a few that have been lent to me for review to check out, like some of the T.Kells, like some of my Vosteeds, but all these other knives are knives I've bought or traded for. So I really do believe in them. And when I tell you that I think they're great knives, I really think they're great knives. So this is the Bradford Guardian 3. Huge winner. Comes in a lot of different blade steels, guys. Comes in different grinds. Comes in different sizes. Highly recommendable, made in the USA knife. And that's going to be number 5, which is going to bring us to number 4, which is a Bestech OEM to medium-sized knife. And it just happens to be very similar to one of my favorite folding knives, and this is the Vero Axon fixed blade. I say similar because, yeah, A, it's a fixed blade, but B, it is a thinner version of the Vero Axon. So this guy is, if I'm not mistaken, in, not sure what the blade steel is. I want to say M390. Number 225 there on the spine. You can see Vero on the spine, but you have no other blade markings anywhere. Got that beautiful belt satin finish, beautiful micarta handles that have just aged fantastically because it spends a lot of time in my hand. This is a primary carry replacement for me. This knife carries very thin, very light. It's a low profile carry, and I love having a fixed blade that performs like this. I have no problem with that replacing my folder for the day, right? Not every day, but some days it's great to carry this knife. The Vero Axon is awesome. I noticed Joseph has released a new, or is releasing a new fixed blade that's got more of a drop point design. I'm very interested in that. Currently on a knife buying freeze, but think it's a super killer knife. Maybe he'll send me one to check out that I can send back. But this is the Vero Axon fixed blade, and I'm a huge fan of it. Can highly recommend it. It's also got a perfectly done sheath that's got that jettison retention. That means you can easily pull it out of your pocket when you've got an ulti-clip on it or any other type of clip. Which brings us to number 3, which is going to be the second T.Kell in this list. Guys, this knife, like every T.Kell I've ever experienced, is stunning. It is the Raider, the T.Kell Raider. So if we look at this in our size comparison, it's going to come in right about exactly the same length as the Bug Out. A little bit longer than the Combatant, but it's more of a drop point slicing. I would call it a camp tactical knife. Still has a slight swedge, really thick point. Awesome grip. It is, this one, if I'm not mistaken, is in ADCRV, but it's also got the nickel boron coating. It's got the same CNC aided grind. Looks fantastic. Employs the same hardware. Utilizes the same very comfortable grip, in my opinion. I love the way these grips are done. Blade stock coming in 0.1715. So this is a jammer, right? This is a knife that you can take out. You could hard use. You could baton it. You could feather stick with it. You could jam it into stuff. You could rescue your Slurpee. And you could also EDC it. Use it to open your packages. Use it to cut your paracord. Use it to cut whatever it is you need to cut, right? I mean, they're very sharp knives. They operate very well. I've become a huge fan after I met Tim and Suzanne and started actually using the knives. I think you guys know that the Piranha is one of my favorite tiny knives. It just works so well. And these medium-sized knives are absolutely amazing. I'm even considering looking at one of his bigger knives and picking one up. Even though I don't have a good chance to carry it, so that would be kind of like reserved for camping trips, which might happen a few times a year. I need to get out and do that more. But this is the T.Kell Raider. Fantastic medium-sized fixed blade knife. Made in America. Again, I would call it a primary folder replacement more than an enhancement. But depending on if you're going hiking and you just want to have something stout in your back pocket or in your belt, T.Kell Raider is a winner, comes in at number 3. Number 2 is one of my overall favorite knives. Just a beautiful, beautiful little Warncliffe by Colin McGuire, Mag 10 Knife Works. This is what I call a finesse cutter. Very thin, very slicey. Not what I would ever want to consider to be a hard use knife, but for an EDC knife, I can't think of much better. I mean, it's like I say, it's a finesse slicer. Super thin, super well done. I call it my gentleman's fixed blade. I think it's really bougie. ABEL steel, the 80s carbon fiber handle, beautiful satin finish, wonderful jimping, wonderful poon, gorgeous swedge. All this is done by hand, guys, and all this is absolutely perfect. You've got these lime green G10 liners that really make that pop off the 80s camo carbon fiber. So this is the Colin McGuire Mag 10 USA. On Instagram, they're Mag 10 Knife Works. And this is the EDW. He makes a lot of different knives. This is the one that speaks to me the most. But I can honestly say this won't be my last Mag 10 knife because they're fantastic. Which brings me to my number 1. And my number 1 happens to come from about 45 miles from where I live. But I met him at Blade Show. I didn't know that Dustin Driver Defense was right over in a neighboring city. But this is the Driver Defense Splinter, which is one of his smaller fixed blades. Dustin makes killer folders, makes killer slip joints. If you search my videos, I did a review on one of my buddies, a guy who shares knives with me, A to Z EDC. He's got a custom folder with it's just got the most amazing grind ever. And that video is somewhere on my page. Just Google or check, don't Google, but look on my page for Driver Defense. But this is a fixed blade. I wasn't even aware he did a lot of fixed blades until before the Nashville Custom Knife Show this past year. So this is a smaller, medium-sized knife that has its length or its girth made up for in handle. So you've got a very, very nice handle. This is going to come in bug out size, but the blade's going to be about bug out size. You've got this nice angular forward finger choil, this super neutral grip, super nice lanyard hole there if you need it. Thick MagnaCut blade stock, heat treated. I want to say at 64, 65. I don't have my card with me, but I know it was close to that. Let's see. 64 on the low side, but I think it was 65. So it's under a 1/4 inch, but still very thick blade stock at 0.1820. But it gets really thin behind the edge, tall flat grind, comes down to, what's that, 0.0165. So this, guys, is a slicer. It's worthy of grabbing another piece of paper just to show you. But then the good news is, that belly, it just rolls off the cut. That's not the... If I didn't hit my choil. Look at that bite. Great knife. And I feel like Driver Defense, it is a tactical knife, but what's really unique in my hand about this knife is it feels like a boss in the reverse grip. I mean, come from my Slurpee while I'm carrying this knife, and I'm in a good spot. So again, another knife that could easily be your primary carry replacement because they're all about bug out size knives. I call them my medium EDC fixed blades. And again, an EDC fixed blade, since it doesn't fold in half, does carry with a little bit more footprint. But all of these knives are set up either with their Kydex sheaths or the Bradford with its leather sheath to, carry pretty concealable, right? And when I carry a lot of these, some of them I don't even feel. Some you can definitely tell they're there, like the shed knives. This big boy, skip a couple so I can bring some of these big ones out. But yeah, guys, those are Javon's top 10. And again, very subjective. But all of these knives I've spent a lot of time with. None of them are new. I think the newest ones are these two, and they've gotten a lot of use. So I feel comfortable recommending any of the knives that have been in this video if you find that they strike your fancy, right? If it's something you're into. Not everybody's into fixed blades. I sure as hell wasn't. That's something, like I always say, keep an open mind as you go through your collecting, because you'll open yourself up to some really cool stuff. I did. Guys, thank you for watching my content. I hope you found it informative, educational, or at least entertaining. I appreciate you being here. Be up. I ask that you please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. And always choose debate over hate. I love you all. Peace.